Goal reporting in Google Analytics. We've been looking at goal-related metrics throughout this entire course. Goal tracking is embedded into each and every report because of the importance of their analysis. Goals are user activities which we'd like to track as specific objectives. Think of goals like this. You have a website, you have content, and you have traffic. But what's the point of it all? What are you trying to accomplish? The answer often determines your goals. Some common goals we see businesses set up include newsletter signups, leads, which usually come in the form of contact forms, ebook downloads, phone calls, website users spending a certain amount of time on site, and really anything else that works towards the larger business objective. For goals, we recommend setting a monetary value for each one. The reason for this is for comparison. For example, a new lead may be worth about $30 to you. A phone call may be worth about $40 to you. A newsletter subscriber may be only $1. If we assign a monetary value to each goal, we can then compare different marketing campaigns and the value that they bring back to the organization. Let's jump right into goal reporting. To get to this section, you're going to go left nav, conversions, goals, and overview. This is the goal overview report. As with other overview reports, it provides a very high level of our goal accomplishments. We get basic stats here, such as goal completions, goal value, goal conversion rate, and then we get specific breakdowns of different goals. So in our example website, we have just a single goal, which is newsletter signups. In other situations, you may have 3 or 4, and this will be your high-level view of that. Down below, you get information and toggles where you can look at the goal completion location. We'll talk more about this in a second, but this is the URL where the goal was completed. And we can also toggle over to look at source and medium. So we get a high-level view of the different sources and mediums which send our goals. In this example, organic search sent about 13 goal conversions, and we had a referring website send about 13, and several others. So things to keep in mind with the goal overview report is that you do have a toggle up top here. Again, we only have one goal set up, but if you had 5 or 6, you could toggle and just look at any one at a time, which sometimes is important. You will note in this particular situation that we do not have a goal value, and we'll talk about that in just a second. Let's jump into the goal URLs report. So the goal URL report, you're going to access left nav, conversion, goals, and then goal URLs. So the goal URL report is meant to give you an idea of from which page goals are completed. Now in our example website, our goal is a newsletter sign up, and we track that when the user gets to the confirmation page after they've signed up for the newsletter. Therefore, all of our goals are completed essentially on the same URL. Now this may be different on your website depending on the implementation. For example, you may have a newsletter sign up that occurs in a pop-up, and after the user signs up, they return to the same page. This report is not particularly useful to us because our goals always get completed on the same page, but in other implementations, depending on how you're tracking your goal, you may see 10 or 20 different URLs here, and that'll help give you a feeling to which URLs are most effective at converting that particular goal. The next report we want to look at, which is more useful to our specific implementation, is the reverse goal path report. And for this, you're going to go left nav, conversions, goals, and then reverse goal path. And what this looks at, and is more relevant to our implementation, is based on the goal location URL, which we saw was all the same, it's our confirmation page, we can look back and see which pages sent the most conversions. So in this particular example on line item 1, we see that the previous step, meaning the step before the user accessing our confirmation page, was the home page. And this happened 34 times, so we see that our home page is most effective at driving new signups. That actually makes sense on this particular website because we have several calls to action for the newsletter on the home page. Some other examples that we see here are referral, which is this is actually an affiliate landing page that sent about 14 goal completions. This is our main shop page, and that sent about 7 completions. Other ones include product pages, and the list goes on. So in general, what this is going to give you an idea, and this report versus the goal URL report, different ones are valuable based on your implementation, but it's going to give us a general idea from where goals are typically completed, and that can drive marketing initiatives. If we really expect goals to be completed on a different set of pages, we may want to look into those and try to improve that situation. Lastly, for goal tracking, we wanted to cover a couple of critical thinking concepts. First thing is, earlier we gave you a rule that says always assign a goal value to a goal. We tend to break that rule on a regular basis when we have e-commerce tracking in place. The reason being that our e-commerce conversions are the most valuable to us. We generally say to assign a goal value to a goal when you don't have revenue tracking in place, because you need to look at the return on advertising spend on a regular basis. So you may set 3 different goals that have very differing values. In the example we gave before, a newsletter subscriber might be worth $1, but a phone call may be worth $40. So you don't want to analyze a campaign in terms of how many goals were completed, because some of those goals could have been really low value and very few high value, or vice versa. So by assigning a dollar value to each goal, and really it's more of a relative dollar value, it doesn't have to be the real value that it is to your organization, you can then assign and analyze the actual value of the campaign. So if you have a campaign that tends to drive a lot of phone calls, which are really valuable to you, you're going to want to max out that spend as much as possible in comparison to another campaign that maybe just gets a lot of newsletter subscribers, which are much lower value to you. So just a way to think about assigning goal value. A second thing is that goals shouldn't be pointless. We often see goals on different websites as not having a lot of real value. Some common things we see are businesses who set a goal of users who visit their contact page. And I think that the logic is, well, if they looked at our contact page, they must be coming to visit us, or they must be reaching out. We generally tend to want goals to be something a little more concrete, where the user took an action, and we shouldn't be afraid to ask them to take an action. So if we do drive them to the contact page and we really want to track that, let's put in place call tracking, or let's put in place a contact form, or let's put some sort of coupon on that page and allow them to download it and track that. But to have goals that are based on either time on site or page views, for most businesses, just visiting a certain page often doesn't make the most sense. We really want concrete actions, goals to represent concrete actions to identify that we've actually accomplished something and taken that user from level of just visiting the website to the next step in becoming a customer.